This is, see, just like that. Um, Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode. We got a very, very special guest. Um, and fair enough, the oldest guest that we've ever had on the show, David Hampton. We
That
do,
really hurt.
I know,
That
I'm
really
just kidding.
hurt.
That was rude. It was a little bit rude.
Listen, I
You
apologize.
know,
It's a little early. The caffeine hasn't kicked in. But Dave, as our special guest, um, he and I and Coach Perez have been the last three standing at as the originals who helped open the school and open the football program at Steinbrenner. Dave, it was the Dave and Dave show, and then it was the Dave show, and then it's now the Dave back again, the Dave and Dave
Dave
show.
and Dave. Yeah,
But
correct.
Dave has been the voice of the Warriors for 15 years. Welcome to the show, Dave. We do appreciate you. I know we're cutting into your beauty sleep. You doing okay so far? The caffeine kick in for you yet?
I'm doing good. That coffee's hit bottom by now.
That's awesome. Well, we were just right before we got started. We were talking um, off air on about NILs, about transfer portal stuff. It's a huge topic. Um, Tell us a little bit about your conversations with some coaches over there in Nebraska.
You know, what they've said is that the NCAA has done what the NCAA has always done. They've overreacted.
Mm,
They've gone from kids basically only existing off of scholarships, no other stipend, to the point now that they have kids that make more money, unproven athletes, because it starts their freshman year. JT Daniels, who started at USC, is a great example, who took NIL for 4 years, I believe finished up at West Virginia. And what's really bothered him has been recruiting. Because let's say you want to recruit offensive linemen. Do you go out to a kid who's going to be a freshman? Or are you going to go to a kid that's going to be a rising junior or senior or a graduate transfer?
yep.
He takes the position on, the first team that maybe a good athlete might have. And so it's put a real crimp in recruiting because now you're asking athletes to take a chance.
Yep.
So it's always been strange because you're always recruiting positions.
Yep.
Kids become available, but now with the transfer portal, they become available even quicker with more experience.
Yeah, I think it, like we have discussed in very much so in weeks past, is it's become a business where at which point the culture of college football was one in which there was pride and there was loyalty. And now it's what's in it for me. I mean, just like the rest of society, right? Is
Correct.
not only
Yeah.
and it's interesting because it's not only the players that are looking to get paid, it's the families. I mean, there will be a day and age, if it continues this way, that college football athletes will have to have agents. I'm already seeing and hearing guys, opening up LLCs for
Yeah.
themselves in their own names, um, because it's a business. They are making themselves a business, and it it I understand it, because now it's you're getting the best and the top talent with no penalties. Like when we played, back in the 90s, you could not you could transfer, but it came at a very hefty price because
Mhm.
you lost a year of eligibility. You sat out with the hopes that coach wasn't going to find someone to fill that spot that he promised you, uh, with the hopes that you weren't going to get injured going down to a lower level D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA, um, and then to no other resolve but your scholarship and the food card, zero stipend, and just a place to live anyway. So, I think that's what makes it super hard is you have these guys who have all this pedigree. They come from a top-notch school. They've been in a program 2 or 3 years. Do you take the 6'5", 300-pound, old lineman that's been at Alabama or Georgia the last 3 years, or do you take the 6'5", 300-pound high school kid who hasn't seen, an all-conference guy running at him yet? So what do you think, Coach Greg?
I think it's I think it's interesting. And I think what's crazy is that they are very close to pushing this through NIL for high schoolers in Florida. There's a lot of high schools in the country in different states that have done this. Um, I'm I'm lucky enough to be a educator where I get to see kids not only on the field but in the classroom as well, and kind of learn the entirety of who they are. And the these kids are awesome young people, but to just try to fathom that some of these 14, 15, 16-year olds might have to be making these mega money decisions at such a young age when they struggle to get to class on time or turn their homework in. It's mind-boggling to me. I do think that for college it's necessary. We've talked about this before. Being former student athletes in college, it kind of takes over your life. You don't have time to do a lot of
Um,
things. It, wow.
yo, hey, we lost you for just a second there. We a question for you. Can you hear me? Okay. On a personal level, how do you feel as a teacher? If one of these high school students snags an NIL deal that's worth more than your yearly salary, I mean, how does
Well,
that make
to
you
be
feel?
honest with you, I mean, I don't. Money doesn't matter a whole lot to me. That's why I do teach. I love I love the profession, but if it was about money, I wouldn't be in education.
That's a great answer.
I mean, I did before I started teaching. I was doing engineering work, um, but I enjoy helping young people grow into the people they can be. If I've had students who were very successful at a young age, either with social media, TikTok. I've had a couple of kids, students who were TikTokers who had massive followings or had agents at the age of 15. So it's not anything to do with the money aspect in terms of the kid's success. I just think
Oh, doing this again. Hold on. Hey, I lost you. Are you there?
Oh yeah, you keep
Here we go. Here we go again. This whole thing with your internet. You got
I
this,
told him.
dude. Your bum internet's over, starting all over again. Here, hold on.
So
Is
Hampton,
it
we have this discussion every week. I have the
not every week, every other week, and it's your fault. Hold on a sec.
from he's like,
I
oh,
saw
Relax. Okay, hold on. We're trying again. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Nobody can hear me. We're starting again. Oh, there we go. Are you there?
hey, you got us,
Okay, there. Are you
Austin.
good? Can you hear me?
hmm,
Can you hear me? Okay.
wow, the robot, the robot.
There we go. Are we all frozen?
So while we're here and he's playing games,
Let's talk about internet issues.
I'm interested in.
Hey, did you know that
Here we go. We're gonna start again. We're gonna start again. Okay, we good? Holy
I
mackerel.
mean,
We're good.
we've been good.
we're good? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I told you, it's that Jose Jordan is gonna have a field day with this audio issue. But it's a spectrum issue. I mean, did you guys lose power yesterday? From all the rain that happened?
Uh, sure.
What's that?
We have Buccaneers this
Hold on, Greg. Ooh.
spandex tights and some flip flops, and he coached his butt off.
Really?
Did his wife know that she was missing a pair?
she was at Disney, I think, running this weekend. So it was one of those walking around in women's underwear type things. You know that song. Remember from back in the day?
Ugh.
It was
So,
good.
so you said, how did it go? How did it go with you guys over there at
It was awesome.
One Buck Place? How'd you guys do?
We won both games. We beat two solid programs. But it was just cool to see our freshman quarterback have her first 7-on-7 action. She's a 5-on-5 USA national player, and I think she connected for 5 different touchdowns over 50 yards.
That's awesome. How about the Women in Sports Scholarship? I know you had a couple of finalists, right? It had to be a couple seniors. Were we fortunate enough to grab the award?
Oh, for this year, that's
Yeah.
still happening right now.
Oh, I thought that was
no,
just recently.
They're doing the process for that right now, so it's
Oh.
pretty exciting stuff.
When did they actually announce it?
I have no idea. I should probably know that, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's terrible. I thought that was part of the One Buck Place thing.
No, that's where they announce everything, and they have the USA coaches there, the quarterback for Team USA. So and then they have the kind of the whole process for the ladies on how to get to that point. So really interesting stuff. The Bucks are doing some cool stuff for the sport, and we're excited. They announced the first ever NCAA division that's taking flag football on.
And which division is that?
It's a Division III Northeast division.
Cool. Very cool. Here we go again.
Exciting.
I did a great highlight game.
Oh,
Last 10, 15 years is absolutely incredible. And Coach, I remember the first girls flag game at Steinbrenner.
oh,
I
really?
actually was there.
Fantastic.
And
You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
The first flag game at Steinbrenner, I coached on the opposite sideline.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
No.
Like, wait, you were coaching our team from the other sideline? Ah, but it's internet. Far out.
Our game, Lauren
Hold on a second.
Bensinger, maybe Lauren could catch and remember that it can't just be Lauren.
It was Ferguson was first head coach.
Oh God. Wow.
Assistants were Ethan Terra, Harley. I don't remember Harley's last name. Works with Tampa Bay club. Does a great job down there. Switching.
Hold on a second.
Dave Hampton.
Hold on a second, Greg. We are again experiencing some of these. Hold on, let me cut into a better. Let me try a better. Hold on. Be patient. We are trying to jump on a better network here. You guys got me? This has been a huge mess this morning.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Here you go.
Okay, hold on. What I'm trying to do is jump onto a different network. I'm currently testing the 5G networks. Like, you know what I mean? Like on a cell phone, instead of having Spectrum, I might just cut Spectrum out completely because this is annoying. Anyways, you guys have been glitching back.
What's cool though right now, Austin, is me and Dave are coming through in like 4K crystal clear, and you look like you're on a Nintendo 8-bit system. It's pretty awesome.
Exactly.
On the Atari 2000 to 2600. Is that better?
So, Dave, yes, you're great. I want to know some of your favorite moments in Steinbrenner football history that you witnessed from the booth.
The very first game always stands out to me. I remember the bus ride to Dover. I remember looking at the kids in the back of the bus. They looked nervous as they could be. I remember the incredible atmosphere in Dover, Strawberry Crest.
Yep.
We traveled and we filled the visiting stands. It had rained most of the day. That night, the clouds parted. We were sitting up there in the stands, and Dave and I were actually doing commentary or announcing it from our own stands to our own folks. And it was electric, absolutely electric. Never seen a game like it since then because of that atmosphere. Two new schools.
Yep. Two brand
And that
new
was
schools.
incredible. Two brand new schools, incredible.
Dave, do you remember the result of that game?
I do. I remember at halftime, we were down 8-0.
Yep.
And a lot of adjustments were made. They had a great running back, a good kid, really good kid running back. And adjustments were made in the second half. We came back, we scored 8.
Yep.
And then we put another 8 on the board. We won the game 16-8.
Yep.
And we were absolutely ecstatic. I remember going to the field right before we started to play, and Eddie Henderson telling me, he goes, I want to make sure we got one of those logos. And I said, we got a logo, but it was that lightning bolt.
That's
right.
it.
So I said, we won't keep that for very long, but absolutely electric atmosphere.
All right. I remember that game too. That was phenomenal. Two brand new schools, two brand new programs. Dave, do you remember game 2?
Game 2 was a JV game, and that game was played was that the Gaither game or the Sickles game?
It was the Gaither game.
Gaither game, right. We go there. We also had some inclement weather.
Mm-hmm.
And we started that game, and I don't think we completed that game. Did we complete the game?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because remember the field had turned, the weather was bad, but the field turned into absolute, it was before the turf. So
That's
the field
right,
turned into absolute mud soup.
Yeah.
At Steinbrenner?
No,
No,
we
it
were
was
at
at
Gaither.
Gaither.
We were at Gaither. And we wanted to play that game so bad.
Yeah, because
So bad.
but that game actually was a game that and Sickles, because the kids, when Steinbrenner opened, transferred from the guys that were
Both
in our
schools.
zone had to transfer over from Gaither and from Sickles. So those were the two games that were targeted. I remember that very first year was 3 JV games and 3 varsity games. Do you remember who our first, not Strawberry Crest, our second varsity opponent was?
Second varsity would have been, let's see, we had Sickles. We won Sickles. We smoked Sickles in that game. I remember that because the coach got pretty mad.
Yep.
I want to say the next game was that Jesuit?
That was Jesuit. Do
Jesuit.
you remember who was coaching on the
At
other sideline?
It
was at Jesuit.
And Coach Ross was coaching.
And
Absolutely.
Coach Ross was coaching.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Cody Hazen is what you're going to talk about.
No,
Cody
yes.
Hazen.
Oh, man.
He almost
man.
lost his
Brutal.
life that day. Poor guy.
But that was the first time we'd ever run into an actual program. And at that time, Jesuit was a powerhouse also.
Powerhouse.
Do you remember what the final score of that game was?
I know. I believe it was 34-zip, or was it higher?
It was no, you know what? I don't remember it either. I remember the Robinson game too.
I do too. I remember the halftime score.
That was
I remember that game, and I wasn't even coaching it. I was at Jefferson High School, and we were off. We were on a bye week, and I was like, at the time, watching scores, and I looked and I'm like, that can't be right. that's
right.
not accurate.
It was truly right.
It was right.
Was it like 63-0 at half or something?
It was 60 or 50 or 60 at half.
56, I think it was at the half.
Yeah.
And then they tried to pull the brakes, put the brakes on, and there were so many, it was Swiss cheese. We couldn't stop. We couldn't stop anything. So
funniest thing ever. So I remember I'm sitting, my wife and I had an apartment in Brandon, and we just got married recently just a couple years before that. And I turned to her and I go, one of the new high schools is losing by 60 at halftime. I go, I couldn't imagine coaching in a place like that. And then come spring, I helped take over the flag program, and it was just a startup, and for Jefferson at the time. And I'm like, man, building a new program was fun. I would love to do that for football, because at the time Jefferson was massively established. They were a state semifinalist, but I was kind of like the do guy. I was, oh, let me hold your cords for you, coach. Let me do this. And then I get to coach a little bit here and there when I wasn't doing all the little tasks. So I was like, I want to go somewhere and help put my mark on a program. And of course, Floyd Graham with his Southern charm. He was a great special landing spot. My wife loved him and loved Dre, and she's like, this is the place we can raise our kids in this community. That would be amazing. So here we are.
Dave, what was your seeing as you've been there at every single game or been present for every single game, which game would you say was your favorite in Steinbrenner history?
Oh gosh, can we go all the way to the latest season?
Any season.
Oh, the best game would have been last year. I'm sorry, not this season. The season before last, the game against Armwood.
Oh yes.
That to me, just I mean, it's inconceivable.
Yeah.
And I admired Armwood's squad. I admired Armwood coaching staff, the way they handled the game. Didn't get chippy. Everything about those guys to me was first class.
Yeah.
And I compare it to programs that aren't near as good, who are just very, very chippy and, I don't think very respectful.
Yeah.
But that'd be my favorite.
Yeah. That in that game, that was a season, was that 2 or 2, Greg?
That was Kirby's senior year.
It was 2 seasons ago because we went to Armwood this past season and it wasn't a good experience. But the 2 seasons ago, Armwood came to us at Steinbrenner, and they were loaded. They had all sorts of D1 talent. They had this pedigree of, playoff runs and state championships. And we just had a group of kids that just believed in each other, believed in the program. And they had the community that rallied behind them. I think there wasn't a single person that left that game until the end of it.
No.
Because typically we'll break in the center of the field, and I'll jog them over to the fence where they will high five and dap up people that have come watch the game to say thank you, and the cheerleaders will dap them up, and then they'll run up into the or they'll stay back and we'll do the alma mater. The stands were still full when we beat Armwood. So, I mean, that night was an absolute electric night where we had no reason to win that game. They had us from top to tail. I will say, from a coaching standpoint, we did a great job. I think offensively and defensively, we game planned for them perfectly. But I think all the stars aligned correctly, and that was our first big win against a major program. But you're right; those Armwood guys were class when they came in. They were class when they left, and a great big win for the program in general. So I agree with you. I think that's a good one, Coach Greg. What do you think? What's your favorite game?
Yeah.
My favorite game was actually a loss. It was our playoff game down at Dr. Phillips. Because it was the first game I got to go back and coach at the high school I grew up at, and my sisters all attended, and it was just cool to be in that atmosphere as a coach, and getting to coach there on the other sideline, seeing a lot of my old teammates coaching on the other side. It was a really cool experience. Obviously, I hated losing. The other one would probably be, I would say, the win in the playoffs against Sarasota Riverview.
Oh, that's a good one.
After Dion Silas's freshman year, we went down to Sarasota Riverview. Ooh. And first quarter, 35-0. And Coach Perez comes over and he's like, man, do you have any ideas? And I said, can we get back on the bus and go home?
That's true.
To be back in the position just a couple years later against that same program and taking them out of the playoffs was just an awesome feeling.
Yeah, that was a great game too.
I got some quick trivia for you too also.
Sure.
So it's season 2. We start off 0-3. Remember season 2, start off 0-3, the double quarterback thing.
Yeah,
You mean,
razor.
wait,
Maybe
the
razor.
Razor
Yeah,
offense.
the Razor offense. I
I'll,
remember
Coach
my son would come home
Coach
shaking
Graham.
his head. Okay, so we were 0-3. So who was our first varsity win that year after everything was completely revamped? And it was at home.
Okay, we lost to St. Pete Catholic. I remember that.
Yep.
I want to
No,
say, did we
no,
lose to
no,
St. Pete?
no. Season 2, we didn't lose St. Pete Catholic.
Was it
No,
St. Pete Catholic?
no, it was not. We played at St. Pete Catholic and beat them.
Yeah.
Who was the first team we beat? Varsity team, really, and it was at home. I can't believe I got coaches on this one.
Trying to think of Listen, CTE is a real thing.
Let's go. I'm gonna go with Chamberlain, but I don't think that's right.
No, it
Oh.
always helps. It always helps to announce the games because it's hard to
Yeah.
forget them.
I'm,
It was Bloomingdale at
oh,
home.
was it
Bloomingdale at
really?
home. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
that's wild.
I remember they hung their heads. They're like, we lost to Steinbrenner. We lost to and they walked off the field, and we were absolutely ecstatic.
Oh, yeah.
But that was after you guys revamped everything. We came back out more of a spread offense. I think a little bit of wing tee also.
Yeah.
But it was crazy.
Yeah. You know, that wing tee offense, speaking of that, Coach Graham put in there, it is a good offense for high schools, a good offense for youth, if you have the athletes to do such a thing.
Yes.
And we did not. Let's just be fair, we didn't. But I think making those adjustments and having the culture, even though it was a brand new culture, where guys were friends on the field, but guys were friends off the field. I know that parents were everyone lived in the same neighborhood, and everyone was everyone really rallied around the new program. I think that helped a lot when it come to pulling through in lieu of an offense that is, in fact, I think kind of dead and gone. You know what I'm saying?
It is, yeah.
But one thing I did want to ask you, Dave, because you are also one of the few. We had Rob Patterson on with us a couple of episodes ago, where he has a son that is now playing in college, but he coached with us, and it's a very typical thing for us to see parents participate until their sons graduate. Now, your son is he's probably almost 30 now, isn't he?
Just turned 30. Just turned 30.
Oh,
yep.
Mackerel.
Just turned 30.
Yeah, isn't that insane? Tell us what your thought process is on that, reflecting back on the original years when your son actually played, and then getting to talk to your son now. What is that like?
Well, I think when your son is a center or your son plays offensive line, I never watched him when we were announcing games. Never watched him. I'm following the ball, right? I'm following the ball like everybody else is. I would get film back from Zach Jones's father, and I would watch film the next day or Sunday or whenever. Remember, and he would burn a disc.
Yeah.
That's where I would watch him play football, because I was not, during that time, I was never going to. I called his name one time in 3 years, and it was a Robinson game when they had that stud kicker who kicked a squib. Yeah. And Tyler got it on the first line. That's why I got to call his name. Yeah. But people have asked me about that. I said, you know what? When you're announcing and they're on offensive line, they're not going to get the love. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And let me ask you another question. Why are you still at Steinbrenner now, knowing that Tyler's long gone? He's a 10-year vet from the high school ranks. What keeps you coming back season after season to Steinbrenner?
First off, a love for high school football, because if you ever played it, if you ever, you just love everything around it. Second is the fact it was a new program that we started from day one. I remember the disrespect and we just didn't get it. We couldn't get kids to come play. Yep. And just every single year, it's just a completely different squad with a different set of circumstances. And it's just interesting to watch the good games and the bad ones. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what keeps us.
Yeah. And I I agree. I think as coaches, it's loving to see the development of the kids, but the kids rotate. I've always thought it's for all the same reasons that we stick around. It's the program, the love of high school football, the love of the program, and the fact that we feel vested. We feel vested into the community,
Yeah.
that we've contributed and done something, and created something that is going to last well past our days when we're gone. So, it's kind of a cool thing, but at the same time, what is your outlook on this upcoming season?
Gosh, all I know is we're looking at backup quarterbacks this year. Starting quarterback's gone. I was absolutely impressed with the way the running game came around last year.
Yep.
After losing Kirby.
Yep.
But I understand he was a senior, and so we're starting back over there. I think probably the biggest thing that affects this team has always been offensive line and defensive line. And I don't know as much as skill positions, but those two, because even when we had skill positions, if those two areas were weak, it was always trouble.
Yep.
So this is probably the one I know the least about, probably because I don't know the athletes that are going to be, skill position players mostly.
Yeah. Well, we also have gotten a turnover for the first time. We've got a turnover in coaching staff as well, too. So Coach Benji, who was our DC, has now stepped away, but we also picked up Devin Abraham
Sure.
to fill that spot.
Remember Devin.
Yeah. So I think he's an East Lake guy, believe it or not. And East Lake is in our district this year again. What do you think of our new district? It's East Lake, it's Palm Harbor, and it's Largo. So not even a Hillsborough County team in our district anymore. What do you think? What is your outlook on? Is it going to be a dogfight again, or do you think that we're going to have issues again with Palm Harbor, or do you think they've forgiven us already?
Was it Palm Harbor? Was it East?
We don't have issues. We don't have issues with Palm Harbor.
Yeah, no.
We love those guys. We love those guys.
I have a fun question before we go. Is you've called games for some amazing athletes over the years. You started off with the Toby Antiguas, the Alex Bombinos from the early years, the Logan McKnights, all the way up to Aiden and Brett Bitter, Deion Silas, Kirby Voorhees. Who were your three favorite players to watch play football at Steinbrenner?
Oh gosh, it had to be number one, Deion. It had to be.
Nice.
Number two was Kirby, because Kirby just had an ability. And number three, I gotta go probably defense on this one. I loved watching the first, and I cannot remember his name because it was a group of brothers.
Yeah.
The defensive lineman. Who was the defensive lineman?
Clarks?
There were three brothers.
Give us the year frame.
Probably would have been 14, 15, 16.
Oh, he's talking about Baby.
Yeah.
The Batista.
Batista.
Yes.
Batista. Exactly.
Andres Batista.
Andres Batista.
There you
that
go.
would have been my number three, because I loved watching him on the D line.
Yeah.
Loved to watch him.
Here's a quick story from Batista. We are playing I think it's Wharton.
Junior, not Baby.
Yeah.
Junior, not Baby. Sorry.
Junior. No, I'm sorry. The Andres Batista. And they triple team him on this one play. And he still gets through, and he still sacks their quarterback. And he comes out of that pile flying to the sideline. And here I am. Remember, we're on special teams, so we're trying to get our guys in and out. And I don't think anybody saw this, thank God, because he goes, "They can't stop me, coach." And I get hyped up too. So I see him go to jump and do the chest bump thing. And I'm like, I'm in. So I committed to this chest bump with him. He absolutely floors me. And we're just on a flip to punt return. And he absolutely annihilates me. And I think that game we still had grass. So the rest of that game, my butt was completely muddy and wet. But the minute that I saw him break through that special teams or that triple team, and then he said, "Nobody can stop me." I probably should have just moved because
You couldn't stop me either.
because I wasn't trying, but I ended up wet and muddy the rest of that game. So yes,
And another feel old moment. He is now working on. He was at my house recently, fixing my air conditioning unit.
Wow.
He's working on starting his own company with the help of his fiance's father. So he's now engaged to be married. So it's pretty awesome seeing these kids and what they end up doing with themselves in life.
Yeah,
So
It is.
yeah, these good
And,
football players, right? That become great men.
we
And
appreciate you for being the voice that gets to announce all their amazing moments and accomplishments on the field and keep our place excited. My favorite thing is anytime you guys announce Kirby Voorhees' name. That was my
Yes.
favorite.
That was Dave. I don't know how Dave picked that up. Dave may have picked it up when he was with Citrus Park Bills.
That
But
was
I
I
remember
thought
the
that
first
was
time he
you.
did that.
Oh,
No,
that's
that was
awesome.
Dave. In fact, Dave and I sound so much alike
Yeah.
that people have said to me, "Well, I love you the way you say so and so." I go, "No, that's Dave."
Oh, that's awesome.
But you're
It's-
Dave,
it's-
so it works.
Yeah, it's a great group, and not having Dave for 3 years there was tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough, but him coming back was a great thing.
It's awesome seeing him back.
Well, listen, do you guys want to jump back on for a minute? Or are we good right here? What do you think, Coach Greg?
I'm good to keep going if
Yeah.
he's got a few more minutes.
Yeah, you got a
No,
couple
I'm
more
good.
minutes?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine.
Perfect. Let me
No problem.
end it and then I'll jump back on. The internet seems to be working again. So I'll throw you guys a link in a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Rico, welcome back. And no technical difficulties the last 20 minutes. I can't promise anything for the next 10 or 15.
Incredible.
But is everything good now? We're looking sharp here. Minus Greg's got blurry. He's in the blurry universe back there. It's amazing.
It's because my daughter's sleeping on the couch behind me. So.
Yeah, she was in the podcast like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of it.
She has no manners.
Listen, we love her. We love her. Dave, tell us what Tyler's doing nowadays. Speaking of going back to our original conversation of these young men who leave us and then go on to being, successful businessmen and entrepreneurs and stuff. Tell us what Tyler's up to nowadays.
So Tyler moved out to Salt Lake City back in 2016.
Wow.
And he moved out to Salt Lake to work with a company that I work with. And he started out as a driver, started out delivering products in the medical field. Excuse me. Then he turned into IT, and he loved IT. And it was so funny. I don't know if you guys ever heard the story about Joey Ross.
Yes, you told me.
No, tell it.
Oh my gosh. So Tyler was in charge of doing time cards when new employees came on board.
Yeah.
And he's doing these employees, and here comes one that comes up. It says Joseph. And he says, wait a second, Joseph Ross? Nah, couldn't be. So he makes up the name tag, he does the time card. He goes downstairs and he walks into the room, and it's Joey Ross from Florida to Utah.
Wow.
Not that he knew Tyler was there, or Tyler told him to come to work there. He just looks up and there's Joey.
Yeah.
So Joey got hired by the same company, stayed out there a couple of years or so, and then moved back to Florida. But Tyler then left the company. Now he's working for a sporting goods company in IT.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny. Speaking of names, when we first got to Steinbrenner, and I'm chatting with Coach Graham because we are trying to establish this Razor offense, which if you don't know what the Razor offense was, it was Coach Graham's make it or break it. We had at the time Christian Carrier, who was a right-handed quarterback, and we had Danny Fernandez, who was a left-handed quarterback. So he thought that we could run a dual quarterback system where Tyler, Dave's son, could snap the ball to either the left-handed or the right-handed quarterback at will. That was the novelty of the whole offense.
And
Anyways,
he said, we're either going to become very
uh,
rich off of this or
yeah,
going to be made fun of.
yeah.
That's in
But
between. There are some decent moments.
as we're going over this offense, he says, this all hinges on my center, his ability to snap, and his name is Chicken Whistle. And I was like, that's not a real name. And he goes, yes, it is, Coach Graham. Yes, it is. I was like, okay. So listen, I just got here. I'm nobody's judge. So I meet Tyler for the first time, and we're out there on the field, and I'm like, what's up, Chicken Whistle? And he's like, oh, hey, coach. And they're going on it like he has no issues with his name being Chicken Whistle. And I'm like, then I meet Dave, and I'm like, yep, this is the guy that will name his kid Chicken Whistle. So I for the longest time, I'm like, what in the hell? Then I finally asked Coach Graham after one practice, I go, what the hell? What is Dave's problem? Why would you name your son Chicken Whistle? Like, I understand there are some cultures that will name their kids after cars like Porsche and Mercedes, and some will name them after brands like Versace and I get it. But Chicken Whistle, what in the world? And Coach Graham goes, no, 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 no. I didn't say that. And I go, yeah, actually, you did. You told me his name was Chicken Whistle. And he goes, no, here's how he got the name. In the ceramics class, he made a ceramic whistle that was supposed to be like some bird calling whistle. And Tyler, not being a ceramics expert, painted it up and glazed it and kilned it and said to Coach Graham, here you go. This is for you. And Coach Graham responded, what the hell is this? And Tyler said, it's a chicken whistle. I was like, there is where Chicken Whistle came from. And at that point, I was like, oh, okay, so it's his real name. And he goes, Tyler. Okay, makes better sense. But it's funny how you meet some of these kids. And I can't tell you how many kids have probably gone through, and I don't even know their real name. Because in sports and in football in particular, you're naming kids by some version of a nickname, whether it's off color or not, or if it's got some inside joke, or you call them by their last name. I think I know so many more kids by their last name rather than their first name. And so I can imagine as the announcer, do you ever run into somebody outside of football and they go, hey, coach? And you're like, I
can't tell you. Yeah, you know who got me the best though? The one that caught me the very best. I'm in Winn-Dixie and I'm getting getting some groceries, and I'm walking out of the store, and this Rastafarian walks by me. He says, hey, coach. And I'm like, you're gonna have to forgive me, but I have no idea who you are. It was Amari.
Amari Brown.
Oh, wow.
Amari Brown. And just as nice as he could be. And I said, Amari, I apologize, brother, but he goes, I know. He had lost about 30 pounds and he had a long dress. I said, I'm really sorry about that. I did not know. But that's one of the ones you just go right by him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and Amari Brown was one of our top linebackers in the early days.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he was a kid flying around the field. But like I said, they grow up, they turn into husbands, and they turn into fathers. And it's such a testament to us, as long as we've been doing this, that on the random, a player from that has to be 13, 14 years ago will see you in a Winn-Dixie and recognize you, and not only recognize you, but stop you and dap you up and give you love. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty awesome thing. I haven't heard that name in a long time either.
Yeah, I couldn't. I had no idea. And we talked quite about some of the teams on the subject too of the offensive line. I thought the offensive line year 2 and 3. I thought year 2 they were going to be a good offense.
Yeah. Okay, I told you the internet would become unstable. And there we are. We are unstable. Can you guys hear me? Yo, are we good?
Oh, hold on. There you go. Go ahead.
Hey, and we're back.
Because
See?
yeah,
So-
because I thought that was fantastic.
This is awesome. And Tommy Forward, if Dave, you got to do this. Austin might not do it because he doesn't like being cold. Tommy Ford runs the restaurant at the ice rink in Wesley Chapel. It's called not Hat Tricks, Top Shelf, and he's there every day. He's the head chef there, but he makes some of the best wings in Tampa. And
Really?
you got
Wow.
to stop in and have their house wings. They are phenomenal, and the restaurant, the beers are cheap, and it's cool. You just get to sit up there and watch hockey all around you, and the food is phenomenal. But he's there all the time, and I'm like,
Tommy Ford, boo boo,
That's
Tommy
crazy.
Ford.
Hey.
Tell the story,
Yeah.
Greg. Tell the story.
No, you can't tell that story. Not till you have him on.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
You remember what his father's career was? He was fire chief when he was with us.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was fire chief, just the nicest guy in the world, and Tommy just fit in so well. I don't know where he transferred from because I think he came in year 2, I believe, but he's just the way the way the offensive line got around him and worked with him and helped him. I tell you, I said that this is going to be a great line just because they like each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's, I think, the hard part about teams nowadays is, there's so much skill and so much emphasis on skill and the skill players and the skill positions where the fundamentals of football, those guys up front, if they don't do their jobs and you don't have guys that trust each other up there, if you don't have guys that will play for each other, I mean, in general, in our society, it's the hardest characteristic to teach a young adult or a teenager nowadays is selflessness. And this is one of those sports, one of the very few left that you have to do something over and over and over again without a pat on the back, without a thank you. And that's your job, and I think that's a huge testament to the guys who have been through the trenches at Steinbrenner, really, and at every level that, it's where we should be going back to. That's where we should lean back to because there's so much emphasis on me. There's so much emphasis on the razzle dazzle part, but nothing has ever substituted a hard day's work. Just getting your hands dirty, getting in there, trusting the guy to the left of you and the right of you to do their job, and to get the job done together. So yeah, those.
I want to see how bad my memory is, and Dave, you'll know the answer to this because it all blends together for us year after year. I'm going to attempt to name the line that year.
Ooh.
All right, we had Tommy Forward, we had Chicken Whistle, Joe Ross Jr.
Mm-hmm.
We had Nick Gatos and Peterson, and then was Alex Vega in that group, or was he after?
Now, are you naming the starters or all of the offensive linemen?
If it's Vega was there, he was a starter. I
Vega
don't
was a
remember
starter.
If he was later.
Vega was a starter.
He was the one on tackles.
Tommy Forward, Tyler, Joe Ross.
Yep.
And you missed the last one because he got in his senior year because Tyler moved to guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I played golf with him years ago, and he started tearing up. He said, I got a chance to play my senior year. I got wrecked in the preseason game, and I played injured the whole year. But to this day, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Who was that?
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh,
I can't think of the name.
Matt Borders.
Borders.
Oh, Matt Borders.
Matt Borders stepped in at center when Tyler moved over to guard, and he said, and that was his only playing experience, really. He told me, he said, Coach, I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And I'm like, Matt, you did a great job.
Awesome.
And he was truly wrecked. He played injured every single game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's also a 5'8" center. You know what I mean? 160 pound center.
Tough kid.
Tough as nails.
Tough kid because, Tyler had lost weight because he was going to force coach to put him at tight end, which coach have said, no, sorry, not going to happen.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to put you at guard because I think you'd be a great pulling guard. And
Yeah.
man, Matt stepped in at center. I still have the picture on my wall. It's called The Last Game. And it's all 5 of the linemen with their hands on their hips. And our
That's
last
awesome.
game against that year against
Last game that year.
Mhm.
Was it home or away?
Who was it?
Was it home or away?
No, it was home.
Oh,
It was home. So it wouldn't be
Cody Kazan had the game of his life.
oh,
Damn it. Why do you do this to me? I'm going to say Sickles.
Mm,
I'm going to say
Middleton.
I was going to say team in purple.
Toby made the catch.
No,
Toby
no,
made
no,
the
no,
catch.
no.
No, that's
no,
not
no,
homecoming
no,
game.
No, that was
Cody Kazan
Toby was
was a
the year
running back.
before.
Okay.
He was a running
right.
back, and he actually ran. He ran phenomenally that day.
Right.
And we had no idea why, but we were like, just give him the football. He's doing great.
Yeah. All of our seniors scored that game.
Yeah.
It was all seniors. It was like their last game,
yeah,
and they went out and wrecked Middleton.
Yep. I remember I was going to say team in purple, but I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah.
I think Perez and I just talked to Alonzo Ashwood about this game at the recruiting fair. We just had the recruiting fair yesterday, and and he couldn't believe it. He's like, "Man, y'all put it on us."
The offensive line destroyed them. I mean, I look at the film of that; they destroyed them. And then those kids, one of the kids, Roberts, his kid's last name was Roberts. He was a senior. He caught a ball. He hadn't caught much all year.
Yeah.
It was just like the seniors said, you know what, we're going to go out the right way. And they just absolutely crushed them. And 2 years before that, we were beaten 63-7 at Middleton.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it was great.
Oh,
group, man.
Well, listen, we appreciate you, Dave. We're rolling up on 8 now. We could keep going. We really could. The memories and all the good times, boy. There's some I've already forgotten that you've brought back, and that's why we wanted to bring you on today, because a wealth of knowledge, a geyser of information, a geyser of information from Steinbrenner's past.
Also, please remember, I was in 3 Chuck Norris movies. So anytime you want to talk about Chuck Norris, let me know. We'll talk about Chuck.
Listen,
wait,
we're
is that real?
To get you back.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
what?
The nicest human being I've ever met.
What?
Never met a guy like him.
What the heck were you doing in Chuck Norris movies?
And why haven't you told us this until now? What in the heck is wrong with you,
man.
Dave? Hey, we know him. By the way, we know Chuck Norris's body double. His name's Dave Hampton.
Really? We were doing a bench press contest in Decatur, Georgia, way back in the day. And this guy walked over and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you guys about a business proposition." And we thought, okay, well, we're not like that. Okay, we're not like that. He said, "No, I want to talk to you about it." So he came over. He said, "Listen, they're gonna blow up this mall, because we're in a mall. They're gonna blow this mall up for a movie." And we're like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna blow it up." And we're like, "Okay." He said, "We really need extras, because we're filming a film here in Atlanta. We need extras. We need guys that can, play Cuban and play Russian soldiers." So we said, "Sure." He said, I need you guys to come out." And it was Invasion USA, which, if you go watch the movie today, it's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But so we were extras on that. And then the Octagon filmed. We were extras on the Octagon. And the third one was a Vietnam film, and I can't remember the name of it. But I remember we filmed in an area in Atlanta where they created the jungle, Look of the Jungle. But no, I did 3 movies, and I thought it was fantastic. A lot of fun.
Crazy.
A lot of fun.
Phenomenal. We are definitely we're going to talk about Chuck. We're going to get you back on.
He's great.
No more football, no more culture stuff. Let's talk strictly about Chuck Norris. That'll be the Chuck Norris episode.
The Chuck Norris episode.
And I was an extra in a John Goodman movie.
Oh,
in the movie
Matinee. Stars. Which movie?
Matinee. I was part of the group in the movie theater when they had to run out of the movie theater. John
Wow.
Goodman.
So you did not need to have a SAG card, right?
I did not. I was not that
we
cool.
Okay,
You're-
we had
you're
to
way
have
cooler
SAG
than me.
cards. We
Listen,
had to have
I
SAG
don't need
cards.
I don't need a sad card. I'm just sad. Mm.
Your internet's sad.
Because it's over. Because my internet's is sad, and we got to roll. I got to go work out, guys. We appreciate you. We already have another episode with Dave. Everybody, keep tuned in. Our 32 subscribers now. Dave Hampton
32.
coming back, the body double of Chuck Norris. He's going to tell us stories about the 3 movies he was in and blowing up malls. Dave, we appreciate you. We love you. And you're doing an awesome job with announcing, but doing an awesome job with the program. And we appreciate you so much. We're grateful to have you. And Greggy,
All right, guys.
as always, lovies. Everyone else, we are out.
All right,
Just like
guys.
the internet.
Later.